all the emotions that took place in the last year, and I think I've done a fairly decent job when I made that decision. I didn't want a whole lot of hoopla to it and get back to work, I really, my emotion was just the excitement I have to go prove it and be a part of something, life has a crazy way of going sometimes, it's a windy road, and it's very fortunate that the organization gave me this opportunity, and I know I got a lot to prove.
You've been able to see it from different angles. What are your expectations in terms of just how far this team can go this year?
Well, I think, when you look what happened last year, 3-5, and then turn around and win in the division, I think obviously a lot of good football was played. But I think a lot of young players turned into really good football players. They grew up, and their production on the field I'm talking about. And so I think a lot of that, there's always this point in time, and everybody hits it at different times in their career where they say, okay, I got this figured out. I can take that next step as a player. And, I sense that. I sensed it this all season with a lot of players. I've sensed it, when we've gone through OTAs and minicamp. And so now you just got to go do it, and those guys have a lot of confidence. And I think that's the excitement I feel of guys that understand that's bigger than them, but they're focused on what they can do to improve to take their game to another level. And when you have a group of guys collectively that approach it that way, it's really fun to be a part of that.
Sorry to address this already, but
what you've seen from Dak.
Listen, there's been a lot of talk about him, but it's been unbelievable for me to watch him since March. Obviously kept in contact with him that year I was away from it, 9 months, 10 months that I was away from it. But from 17 at the end of that year to what I saw this offseason, it's a completely different player. The intangibles that he has as a leader, as a guy, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. Everybody respects him. They want to play for him. They listen to him. They believe in him. And then as a player, his confidence in this system and all the little things that he's working on to improve his game, I expect an incredible year for him. He is the leader of this football team.
How much do you guys need Zeke to get to where you want to go?
Yeah, he's a huge part of this football team, has been since day one, minute one. And I've had a great relationship with Zeke over the years. He's a smart football player, great guy, the charisma that he brings for his football team. And, these things are tricky, it's really hard. I've seen it over the course of my career. And, I thought what Jerry said and Steven, how they approach it, these things happen and you go through them, and, hope it gets worked out soon. He's certainly a guy that we're counting a lot on when he gets here.
You said a team leader, what do you have to make sure you do to make sure that this doesn't become a distraction for the guys who are here working?
Yeah, I think the leaders on this football team have done a good job of that. I think the coaching staff and the organization, when Mr. Jones spoke to the team, he talked about taking advantage of an opportunity and controlling things you can control, and I think that's a big part of all of us, as you approach this. And obviously he's a big part of what we've done and will do this year. But I think for all players, you have to be able to kind of focus on what's happening right in front of you and know that those things are going on, they take place. And, I think we have a lot of confidence those things will get resolved. My experience has been, those things around here anyways, those things usually work out.
You said you have a lot to prove. When's the last time you felt that way, that you have a lot to prove out here on the field?
I don't know. I always felt like internally I did, but, there's a lot of questions about what I can do, and rightfully so. I think that's anytime you kind of take the road that I've taken, you don't know, people don't know what to expect, and so not that I'm motivated by that, but I think that's a hell of a challenge for me to kind of be able to go out there and look at the show me game. I got to be able to show it.
I'm trying to outread everything that people are saying.
Oh, I learned that through last year. That was the first thing I ever wrote for when I was with another network, was that you can't allow those things to affect you. They happen. It's not personal. It's part of the business. Look, this opportunity. I'd be a disappointment. I'd be letting down a lot of people if I paid attention to that. My whole life has been motivated to prove and believe that I can be the best, and if you allow those things to enter your mind, that clutter, you're never going to be able to reach what you do. So my expectations, my belief in myself is a lot higher than any of that stuff, and those questions are fair. I get that.